Hey everybody, Tricia Sheehan here, certified essential oil coach and founder of the Functional Essential Oil Education Facebook group. And I wanted to share some more information about you guys with regards to dilution. This is a question I get a ton. It's a great question, how to dilute oils. And I think it's such a popular question because different resources have different advice. And so I was researching this a bit more and trying to figure out where these different recommendations came from. And what I found, especially after speaking with Dr. Michelle Markham, is that a lot of the dilution charts that we see on the internet, the graphics that show the helpful charts, are actually, the math is incorrect. And so here's the thing I would recommend as far as dilution goes. Obviously, if you're new to essential oils, it's best to go low and slow because you want to make sure that the oil doesn't irritate you or the carrier oil doesn't irritate you. And no matter when you're trying anything, essential oil or something else, you're trying something new in your body or on your body, you're always going to be mindful of what happens. We're all different. And so, someone might be trying lavender essential oil and they love it. They find it very calming and soothing. And someone else might say, that was so weird, that gave me bad dreams. And obviously you have to do some detective work to figure out like if you're having an undesirable effect, what caused it, and making sure you're blaming it on the right thing. But for one person, something might work, and the next person it may not. It's the same thing with food and vitamins and prescriptions and anything else. Works for some, doesn't work for others. So just being mindful and starting low and slow to make sure that whatever you're doing is really working for you. And other than that, I think a lot of the dilution recommendations come because they don't actually know what product you're using. And there's a wide variety in the essential oil world of quality. There's some very, very low quality products available and some very high quality products available. So they like to assume that you're using the really poor quality one and making that safe because they don't know what you're using. So if you know for sure that you're using a very high quality essential oil, you've done your homework and you're completely sure about that because this is something you don't want to mess with. They can have pesticides in them and fillers. It could come from the wrong version of a plant. There can be all kinds of problems with them. And so you just want to be as sure as you possibly can because this is about your health. And doing some discount shopping, this is really not the place to do it. I would rather see you just not use essential oils than use something that's of low quality because you could actually do more harm than good. So that's, I think, some of the reason why there's such debate around dilution. The other dynamic at play is there's different types of essential oil educators. There's aromatherapists, and there are what I call oil coaches, oftentimes connected to one of the big oil companies like doTERRA or Young Living. And the sort of older, more established profession of aromatherapy doesn't really like that there's some new people encroaching on their territory. And so there's a dynamic at play that has really nothing to do with you or your health. It's just sort of the politics of the industry. And this is not specific to essential oils. This happens in every industry where there's humans involved. And so sometimes the aromatherapists will work really hard to counter recommendations by oil coaches so that they can sort of preserve what they feel is sacred about the aromatherapy world. And so it's just a matter of debating to protect their line of work. I'll leave it at that. But it's not actually about you and your health and your safety. So as always, be careful what you are following on the internet, and just because it's written down doesn't make it true. But let's look at some math. Okay, this is a roller ball. This is one that I made. This is 10 milliliters. This is a very common size. You can make it yourself. A lot of companies offer pre-made ones, 10 ml. And so there's about 170 drops of something in here, whether it's essential oil or carrier oil. It's about 170 drops. Some oils are thicker than others, so this is just an approximation for doing the math, but it's about 170. And so if this was 10% diluted, that would be 17 drops. If it's 3% diluted, that's 5.1 drops of essential oil, and a 1% dilution is 1.7 drops. So not a lot. So if there's 170 drops, you're putting in 17 or 5 or 3, it's not very much. And so A lot of experts in these charts will recommend like a 3% dilution or a 1% dilution for kids. So this has about 100 uses in it. And so if you made this for a kid at a 1% dilution, it's mostly like coconut oil or almond oil or another carrier, and 2 drops of essential oil, you're going to use this 100 times on your kid. That's very, very, very little amount of essential oil being used, per use. And so you might not get any results because it's mostly carrier oil. So the math comes out to 0.017. The math on a 3% dilution comes out to 0.051. And at a 10% dilution, it's 0.17 of a drop. So not even half a drop, not even close to half of a drop per use. So I find that those dilutions are probably too conservative to get you a result. Now, why do they do that? Probably because they're worried that you're using a very low quality oil and they want you to use very little of it because it's very low quality. So what might be more effective? Okay, so even if you went with let's go crazy on the other side, 50% dilution is 85 drops of essential oil in here. And so even, with 100 uses, that's still not even a drop of essential oil per use of this roller ball. A 30% dilution is 51 drops of essential oil, and that's half a drop per use. And then a 20% dilution is 34 drops. So still less than half a drop of essential oil per use. So I think the bottom line is it's hard to misuse the essential oils as long as they're diluted, because if you put them directly on your skin, some oils will be fine and some oils will cause too much irritation. And again, everyone's different. So something that doesn't irritate you might irritate your sister. Kids are more sensitive, older people are more sensitive. Some people just know that they're more sensitive to things, and diluting it doesn't make it less effective. So there's really no drawback except for one case, which I'll get to in a second. Diluting it helps to drive the oil into your skin versus evaporating off. Carrier oils are very nurturing to your skin. So if you're a beginner, here's what I would do. Get yourself a carrier oil, test it by itself 2-3 times. Make sure it doesn't irritate you by itself, because we don't want to blame the essential oil if it's the coconut oil or the almond oil that's bothering you. And then add some essential oil to your dollop of carrier oil and put that on. But once you know that things don't bother you, and it's not super common, but it's absolutely possible for an oil to bother you when you put it on your skin. And there are certain hot oils that are very strong, and you need to dilute them, like oregano and peppermint and cinnamon, for example. So if you're new, you just start low and slow and just make sure nothing bothers you. I also really like low and slow because I want you to find the lowest possible amount that gets you the results you want. That's just going to save you money. And there's no need to overpower your body with essential oils. If you find that you make a roll on 30 drops works, you don't need more than that, awesome. Your body doesn't need to deal with more than that. You don't need to pay for more than that. That's perfect. So you can always open this back up and add more, okay? And so if you feel like, oh, I'm not getting the result I want, don't throw essential oils out the window. Just know that you might be diluting it too much. So let's even talk about a 50% dilution. If this was half carrier oil and half essential oil, that's about 85 drops. You're still using less than 1 drop per use, okay? And so keep that in mind. There's a lot of fear mongering around essential oils. A lot of time it's clickbait because they just want to get you to their website, and they know saying some certain things will spark a lot of debate and interest and will get you to go to their site, and that's all they care about. So be careful about that. But just kind of, if you look at the math and what makes sense, even if you did half essential oil in here, you're using less than a drop per use. Do I use that much? I do not. I don't think you need that much. I get results with much less, and I don't like to waste my money or my oils. And so you have to play with it to see what works for you. Personally, I like about a 20 to 30% dilution. So that's 30 to 50-ish drops. That's what we use in our household. You need to decide for yourself what you want to use. But I would just say, number one, dilute your oils. The only time that I recommend not to dilute your oils is, well, number one, you have to make sure the carrier oil doesn't bother your skin. But number two, if you burn yourself, You don't want to carry your oil on your skin because the fat that's in there will trap the heat. So if you burn yourself in the kitchen, if you get a sunburn, put lavender directly onto it and it will stop it in its tracks. You don't want carrier oil, okay? I also really like frankincense. Frankincense and lavender are very powerful, but super gentle to your skin. So they should really help you. Is it possible for you to have a reaction to one of those? Yes, it is. Is it common? Not at all. So here's a good tip ahead of time. Try out lavender directly on your skin. Try out frankincense directly on your skin. And then you'll see if it bothers you or not. That way when you get a burn, you'll know, should I use this or should I not use it? It doesn't have to be so complicated and overwhelming. And if you feel like you want to get into this and you need a little help, a little coaching, that's what I do. That's what I offer. My Facebook group, if you are just a regular person trying to learn about essential oils, if you buy them from our team, all of the coaching is free, and our group is called Empowered and Healthy Community on Facebook. If you are an essential oil educator and you're trying to learn more, get beyond the basics, learn some of the science, learn some health coaching strategies and techniques, that group is called Functional Essential Oil Education on Facebook. So I'd love to be able to help you and support you. And I really want you guys to be benefiting from your essential oils. There's nothing to be afraid of. If you would like to get the free coaching from me, you would just start at my website and get your oils. Or contact me through my website, and then we would get started. And the website is wellnesswarriorsuseoils.com. If you have questions, get in touch.